الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن والصعب إذا ما شئت سهلا اللهم آمين. We are today in Sura Al Lail. We concluded Sura Al Duha and Al Ishtirah, and now we will inshallah talk about Sura Al Lail. This is another typical surah from the Juz' Amma, which starts by an oath, and in this surah Allah Azza wa Jal says وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى, by the night when it covers, it showers, وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى, and by the day when it uncovers and it clarifies, وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى, and with the creation of الذكر and الأنثى, male and female. إن سعيكم لشتى, indeed your actions, your intentions or an attention in life is different. فأما من أعطى واتقى, and as for those who give and are conscious and conscience, وصدقه بالحسنى, and believed in the husna, we will direct them to the yusra, to the ease. وأما من بخل واستغنى, as for those who hold back and did not fully surrender to Allah Azza wa Jal, وكذب بالحسنى, and denied in the husna, فسنيسره للعسرى, then we will direct him to the hardships. Let's go back and try to unpack these ayat and see what are the references of these ayat in our practical life. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى. Now here, al-layl came first, and then come, the day. Any suggestion on why Allah Azza wa Jal have introduced the night first before the day? And in the previous surah, Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. The Allah Azza wa Jal in the previous surah mentioned the day, duha, which is the time of the rise of the sun, and then وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, and when the darkness of the night covers. Allah Azza wa Jal here is referring to the concept of that the night or the darkness comes before the day, whereas in the first surah Allah Azza wa Jal was uplifting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, after the difficulties and hardships, here comes the day to give you uplift in your life. The previous surah was more about brightness, uplifting, and about building hopes into minds and hearts of people in their life. However, here Allah Azza wa Jal is representing even a fact of that, which is that we are living in darkness. The space outside the sphere of the earth is basically nothing but darkness. It's complete darkness, and when we even count the days, we count the days by the night. For instance, today or tonight is called Monday night. Today is Sunday, and as the Maghrib kicks in, we say this is Monday, right? The night of Monday. Like when we start Ramadan, we start the Taraweeh, the day before we start, so that the count of the day starts with the night, not the other way, except for Yawm Arafah, which is the night of Arafah, would be known as when the sun set. This is called the night of Arafah. So here Allah just says وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى. Now al-layl إِذَا يَغْشَى, when the yaghsha is in the present form, tajalla in the past. Here if you were if you will to look onto the mechanical, if we can use that word, mechanism of the night does not come all of a sudden. After Asr, gradually the night kicks in with the changing the color of the sun, and the redness comes on the horizon, and then comes the first night, which is Salat al-Maghrib, and then when it comes completely dark, then we have Salat al-Isha. Because we have Maghrib at the sunset, and then Isha in the darkness complete of the night. And then it continues in the darkness, and the darkest moment in the night is the moment that comes before Fajr. However, when the daylight breaks in, Salat al-Fajr, when sun rises, it takes about 10 or 12 minutes until you can see it. When Ishraq, when the time after Salat al-Fajr, we have the Ishraq time, and then the Duha, right? When the time of Ishraq, sunrise as we call it, we give another 10 minutes for the complete rise of the sun. So if you count 10 minutes after that and you go outside, you'll see that the sun is already up. So the process of the day is much faster than the mechanism of the night moving in and showering the darkness throughout the night. So this is a difference in the mechanism of the day and the night. والليل إذا يغشى والنهار إذا تجلى وما خلق الذكر والأنثى. ما here is an article of اسم موصول. What have created الذكر and الأنثى. Now here we know that الليل and النهار are both creations of Allah Azza wa Jal, right? And we know that male and female are also the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal. But Allah Azza wa Jal have separated between والليل إذا يغشى والنهار إذا تجلى وما خلق الذكر والأنثى. Though they are all the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal did not like to include all those items together as His creations, because the Layl and Nahar, the day and the night, are creations of Allah Azza wa Jal, but they are not mukallaf. They are not creations that are expected to establish life on earth, but rather they are creations of Allah Azza wa Jal that have already pre-assigned jobs and missions. The sun comes out on a regular basis around the year. Does not never the sun never failed from coming out at certain times or moving in a punctual time. The same is to be said for the day and the night. As a matter of the fact, الشمس والقمر بحسبان, we count our day and night by the movement of the sun and the movement of the moon. The moon will give us the movement of the month, and the sun gives us the counting of the days, the day hours, and we know the timing throughout these two mechanisms. So they're prompt and punctual in their moving, because Allah Azza wa Jal have given them assigned tasks. They do not have a choice. Unlike a human being, they have a choice in their life. And Allah Azza wa Jal is here trying to highlight the importance or the fact that وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى, He created, the one who created the male and female, and assigned for them. And this is what actually the following verse come to define the purpose of Allah Azza wa Jal presenting this in an oath. إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى. Indeed, your sa'i is completely different in this life. And here sa'i is also a word that is similar to amal. And if we were to say what's amal, amal's been working, actions. But here Allah Azza wa Jal said sa'yakum, not amalakum lashatta. What's the difference between amal and sa'i? Sa'i is like when we go to do sa'i between Safa and Marwa, we do it with with a lot of attention, with focus, with energy. And sa'i is normally doing actions with a lot with force and energy, and with focus. And this is exactly, subhanallah, the human being. We have different sa'i in our life. Some of us they're, they are, they and when the day break through, they are focused in their school work. Others, going to get their, to do their job. Others, have no business in life but to enjoy and entertain themselves. Different sa'i in life. People's focus and attention in life differ from one person to another person. Inna sa'yakum lashatta. And then after that, Allah Azza wa Jal indicates that yes, despite of the fact that your sa'i is different, your attention in life is different, your aim in life differs from one to another, but there are those who are, who have defined their objective in life. They knew what they're aiming for. They know what they're living their life for. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى. As for those who فَأَمَّا أَعْطَى, those who had given, and also at the same time, but with their giving, they are being conscious, muttaqi, وَأَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى, and صَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, and believed in the husna. There are different three forces in our life. There is the force that the energy of doing, and we have built-in forces to, and the energy and the drive to do things, whether it is halal or haram or achieving in life or whatever it is, the aim and focus and attention to do things. And there is also the energy to prevent ourselves from doing certain things. And there is also the force of the mind or the aql, the rational in our life. These three forces interact and shape our life. And these three forces are actually defined in these ayat. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أَعْطَى وَاتَّقَى وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى. As for those who give, and giving is not necessarily in the actions of giving the money to those who are in need for it, but it is sharing what Allah Azza wa Jalla had given to you from health or knowledge or wealth with those who are rajud. It's the driving force that make you share and benefit others around you. So this is the number one force. Wattaqa, we know that taqwa, when we define taqwa, we know that it is protecting yourself from the maharim of Allah Azza wa Jal. And wasaddaqa bil husna, and here saddaqa is endorsed, believing in al husna. What's al husna? Some of the tafsir say that husna is al jannah, husna is la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, or al husna is from everything that is hasan and pleasant. And this is one of the things in life we and especially for young people and people with potentials and abilities and powers, what prevents them from going off the path? We're seeing right now, unfortunately this is a global syndrome now, especially among the teens and adolescents. We're seeing a lot of mischief, a lot of turmoil, a lot of problems, a lot of things that make people's life so difficult and hardship. But when you look into those whom Allah Azza wa Jal had blessed and gave the hidayah to, from those who are conscious and mindful of Allah Azza wa Jal, you'll find these meanings of turmoil and trouble time is irrelevant to them, because they are setting the parameters and the guidelines for them in their life. They're young people whose focus in life is to benefit from their time early in their life by learning the Quran, studying in the basics of their deen, focus on their school work, and they're benefiting themselves and benefiting their families and the society in which they're living in, and this is what would be defined as setting the mind's or rational force in the mind, which is through the taqwa. That's why the Muslim is and the mu'min living in ease. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِ فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا, and the opposite is أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. So when we establish وَصَدَّقَ بِالْحُسْنَى, when we endorse and believe firmly in what Allah Azza wa Jal had promised us with, because al-ihsan in another hadith defined as أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. So when you are setting yourself in the right path by having the energy and the motive to give and to share and to benefit, and at the same time to hold yourself from doing the haram, and keep on the top of all that in your mind that I am muhsin in my approach in life, because though I am unable to see Allah in this dunya, Allah is watching me, and this is what guides you in this dunya. And this is these are the parameters that keeps your energy moving forward in this dunya. And if we were to look into even any society, like what are the elements of advancement in any society? Time is a factor, because time is an important factor, and the energy and the humans involvement, and these are the things that Allah Azza wa Jal have highlighted in the introduction of this surah. Allah Azza wa Jal highlighted the element and the importance of the time, Al Lail wal Nahar. These are the two elements of the time, and والذكر والأنثى referring to human being. And this again emphasizes on the importance of investing in the human being. And that's why I was talking yesterday to one of the brothers, and we were talking about recreational and correctional services here in Canada, which is something that beautiful to explore and examine. The jail system here is not meant to punish those who are violating the laws, but rather is aiming to correct their behaviors and provide recreational environment for them, to help them be able to change and move for the best in their life. And this is what Islam actually focuses on. Islam focuses on into changing the behaviors and investing in the minds of individuals in the society. And that's why the best investment nations have developed advanced societies are doing is into a human being. That's why in most of the, or at least I hope that there is still the case in some advanced countries, the post-secondary education is free. Why is it free? It's not a waste of money. It's not just for the leisure of providing post-secondary education for people because because we have a lot of wealth, because they know whatever is is spent into building human power and abilities and capacities is a benefit for the whole nation. And this is why Islam focuses a lot on establishing the minds and the hearts and the soul of individuals. If you have in any society teens who in general here adults who are decent individuals, who are who know their goal and objectives in their life, and they have the motive and the energy to create and to provide, then the society will be much more beneficial, much more better shape than otherwise. And that's why when Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, when he had the surplus of zakat money, he was looking into setting people free. He freed all the slaves. He paid all the debts. He get married those who were single. So in another word, he tried to invest into the individuals in the society, so that the individuals are able to give back in return for the environment or the society in which they're living in. فأما من أعطى واتقى وصدق بالحسنى فسنيسره لليسرى. If you were to apply these things, if you were to be from those who are giving, to be from those who are holding back from the maharim, keeping in their conscience the maharim of Allah Azza wa Jal, set the boundaries for yourself, and you are endorsing صدقه بالحسنى. You're worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal as if you were to see Him. You're in that stage of being muhsin in your ibadah, in your interaction, with others around you in life. Another example into this is to how Islam looks into a simple act of giving a charity. When you give a charity, you are not giving a charity because you feel that you're obligated to, or you feel that the charity is decreasing your money. You're giving the charity knowing that the charity is increasing and blessing your life. But at the same time, your act of charity is not accepted from you unless you are muhsin in the way you're giving your charity. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Those who are no fear nor grief they shall have in their life are the ones who are muhsin in the way they give their sadaqah, and they contribute. They reach out for those who are in need, and they give it to them with most beautiful way, so that their sadaqah is accepted. They are looking at the recipient as doing a favor to them, not the other way around. In Islamic principle, the one who's doing a favor is not the one who's giving money, but the one who's receiving money from the one who's giving, when the giving is given it to him in the most optimum way, in the form of the husna. فأما من أعطى واتقى وصدق بالحسنى, then what are the outcomes for that? What are the rewards for doing this? فسنيسره لليسرى. Then we will be directing him or her to the yusr. What's al-yusr? It is the ease, the comfort of the dunya as well as in the akhirah. These are the outcomes. Subhanallah, look into the situation of the Muslim Ummah right now in the whole world. The Muslim Ummah is suffering because we're people are dying out of hunger, out of cold, out of lack of basics of needs in any society. That's because we have failed to be from those who are having the energy and drive to give. Yes, there are some charities. We see in the news about certain X or Y, king or prince or president giving, but they're not giving for the sake of al-husna, but they're giving it so that politically they're gaining a mileage out of that, so that they're seen as kind and generous, so they're gaining something out of this, but it is not done because they are seeking the pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. فَسُنِيَسِّرُهُ لِلْيُسْرَى. The individuals who are acting this way will be directed to the ease, and the whole society around them will be living in ease and comfort. وَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى. As for the one who would hold and istaghna. Now here I did not, when I would give the word by word translation, did not translate the word istaghna. Now, does anyone know what does istaghna mean? Any suggestion? Hi, Sheikh Harith. Istaghna, let's take it, break it down. Istaghna is from ghina, right? Ghina means rich. That's right, here you go. So, as for those who hold back, wastaghna. Staghna of what? طلب الغنى, right? To pretend to be rich, or to استغنى عن شيء. You're offering people. Someone comes to the masjids and offering free biryani, and I say it's okay, I don't need it. مستغني عن خدماتك. They say استغنى عن خدمات. He does not need my service anymore, or he does not need need me. I don't need you. This is literally what could it mean. I don't need you. استغنى عن من? In this context, in the context of this ayat, what does this person, the second category of individuals, what they have استغنى عن? استغنوا عن Allah. Why? Because they felt that they don't need, they don't need it. They don't need Allah Azza wa Jal. they are, they have reached, that, level of understanding. I'm rich, or I am, powerful enough, I'm influential enough that I have forgotten Allah Azza wa Jal. He's not always in my thoughts and in my mind. However, when you are living in hardships and difficulties, and that's, the Muslim and the mu'min always, keeps Allah Azza wa Jal, إن الإنسان لا يطغى أن رآه استغنى. And is man would be state of طغيان and transgressing when he feels that he does not need Allah always to be in his life. And when they feel this way, فأما وأما من بخل, withhold back, واستغنى, I don't need Allah Azza wa Jal. Not maybe by verbally saying that, but the actions, his actions in life are speaking this way. When you look when you look into the actions of certain individuals who are not Allah Azza wa Jal is not in their mind, they're transgressing, they're killing, they're torturing, they're doing this, and then some people that fear Allah, they're not even listening, they're not paying attention to it. They see the blood being shed in front of their own eyes or in front of the TV screen. It's not moving anything in their minds or their hearts. This is استغناء عن الله عز وجل. فأما وأما من بخل واستغنى وكذب بالحسنى, and denies the husna, whether it is La ilaha illallah, whether it is Al Jannah, because though they might know that, oh, there is Jannah, there is not, but are you acting upon that belief? No. They're not acting on that belief. They're not living their life in that belief. Whether in being quote unquote rich or being poor, always Allah Azza wa Jalla in their minds and in their hearts. The most of those who were promised Al Jannah in their life are rich people among the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he was very fluent, very rich, and when he became entrusted on the affairs of the Muslim Ummah and he became the Khalifa, his whole life completely changed. He gave up all his wealth to the Bayt al-Mal, to the trust of the Muslim Ummah, and he used to eat the harsh food and live a very basic and harsh life. And when they said to him, well, how? Because he said, now I am entrusted on the affairs of the Muslim Ummah. Al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, who was in charge for a large geographical area, after the conquering of so many countries, used to, eat the very harsh and difficult food to the point that his stomach was crawling and making noise, and say, qarqiri aw la tuqarqiri, by Allah, you will not be eating the meat until the orphans of the Muslimin will be satisfied and fed and completely content from eating the meat. This is, the contrast between someone who has the means in his or her hand, but the conscience of Allah Azza wa Jal is always in their heart. They never forget Allah Azza wa Jal in difficulties and in ease. And there are those who are unfortunately, as they become in a position of authority, or become in an ease, or become in an influent position, they immediately forget Allah Azza wa Jal. And what is even worse is to be from those who would forget Allah Azza wa Jal even in hardships and difficulties. May Allah, give us the hidayah. And that's why you remember when we said, in the past that يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوب على دينك. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إن الله لا يخلف الميعاد. That's why it's always important to remind yourself and pray to Allah to give you always the hidayah and steadfast your heart on the right path. وكذب بالحسنى, denies the husna, denies the akhirah, denies being in the state of ihsan in his life and in worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. What are the consequences for that? What are the outcomes of that? فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَةِ, then we will be directing him to the hardships of the difficulty and misery in this dunya, the hardships of not being able to live in comfort, in peace in the dunya as well as in the akhirah. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي, clearly, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا, whoever abandons my dhikr, then the consequences will be, he will be living a miserable life. ضَنْكَ, as Sayyid Khutb indicates, the word as you pronounce it in your heart, it's difficult to pronounce, and that's how your life will be, afterwards. Musa alayhi salam, when he, asked his servant, his to, يعني أو أمضي حقبة فلما بلغ مجمع بينهما نسي حوتهما فاتخذ سبيله في البحر سربا فلما جاوزا قال أتنا غداءنا لقد لقينا من سفرنا هذا نصبا. When he went his journey to look for the righteous man, his journey was easy and difficult. And then when they passed the point where they're supposed to meet, the righteous man, they encountered hardships, difficulties. لقينا من سفرنا هذا نصبا. نصبا means hardships, and that's why when you go against the right path, or when you drift off the right path, then you encounter difficulties. As long as you are within the boundaries and within the deen of Allah Azza's teachings, then you are living in comfort. Not necessarily comfort of living in a luxurious house and driving a very expensive car and having a certain account, a number in your account, but rather living in comfort and in ease from it within. فسنيسره للعسرى وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى. And what would his money will do for him, or how is the money will be beneficial for him? إذا تردى. تردى means thrown into, whether it is in the hellfire or in this dunya, by living by being going from one misery to another misery, by going from one hardship to another hardship, by going from one level of dhulm to a higher level of dhulm, والعياذ بالله. وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى. The money, the wealth, is not going to be in any benefit for him or her when they are living that lifestyle or living that status in their living. وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى. إن علينا للهدى. إن علينا للهدى. Now Allah Azza is speaking now. It is the hidayah is from Allah Azza wa Jal. إن علينا, Allah Azza has vowed and promised to provide the hidayah. Now this would prompt us to say, well, then that mean those who are not guided, or that those who are not on the right path, Allah Azza did not want them to be on the right path? And this would probably come to mind. Al-Huda here refers to the guidance that Allah Azza has provided through the prophets of Allah Azza and through the scripts that He have sent to mankind, so that they're able to utilize it and benefit from it in knowing Allah, getting to know Allah Azza and getting to know how to live their life. The scripts are available. The guidance is there, but whether it's up to them to whether to choose to follow or not to follow. Inna alayna al-huda. Allah Azza has provided the hidayah. I like what the Sha'rawi once said in speaking about this concept of hidayah, of saying that you happen to be traveling to another city, and then you stop at the intersection and you find a police officer in a cruise, and saying, you ask him which path should I take to, let's say, going to Montreal, and he would say to you, that path. And then you would say, oh, thank you so much, I really appreciate it that that you have guided me, because I have been lost, and I've been wondering of how could I find my way. And then you show the appreciation, and then the officers, when he see you that so appreciating and accepting his advice, he will be saying, just follow me, because I know that there is down the road another intersection or construction taking place, and another detour will be down the road, so I'll just guide you through until you make it safely on your path, until you make it all the way to your final destination. This is further hidayah, this is further guidance, as Allah Azza, when you come towards Him, He will give you further hidayah and give you more إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى وربطنا على قلوبهم إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض لا ندعو من دونه إلها لقد قلنا إذا شططا. However, someone and go back to the same example, and that the officer ask you to go from that path, but you'd rather to choose to go in the other path. Then it's your choice. Your choice to accept or not to accept the guidance that will be beneficial for you in your life. إن علينا للهدى وإن لنا للآخرة والأولى. To Allah Azza wa Jal belongs the hereafter, as well as al-ula, which is referring to this dunya. فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى. Subhanallah, this is a very scary statement. فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى. I'm warning you. I am warning you a blazing fire. Once the Prophet ﷺ in the masjid stood and warned the people from the fire, to the point that his rida, his cover, fallen off his shoulders, and the people outside the masjid heard him when he was, talking about warning people about the hellfire. We're talking about a very serious issue, burning fire. فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى. It would not be blazing except to those who are not shaqi, ashqa, an exaggerated form of shaqa, af'al. لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى. Al-ashqa, referring specifically to those who have chosen to be, from those who are deserving to be in the hellfire. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى. Who is this ashqa? Who is that person who is shaqi, miserable, that deserves to be from those who will be, eternally living in the hellfire and blazed by the hellfire? الذي كذب وتولى. The one who have denied and disbelieved and turned his back to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. كذب وتولى. وسيجنبها. And on the other, contrary to this, the يجنبها means will be protected. Here مبني للمجهول, past participle. He will be protected from it. He's not going to protect himself. He will be protected. وسيجنبها الأتقى. The one who is taqi. الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى. The one who gives his wealth and money. Now again, here ata, giving, was general in the first statement, but here, more specific in terms of money, because money is known to be the core, or the most important element of establishing societies. Without money, you're unable to establish economy, unable to establish livelihood, and it is a very important asset. وَالَّذِي يُؤْتِي مَالَهُ يَتَزَكَّى. The one, yu'ti means give, ماله, his wealth, يتزكى, for the purpose of a purification, to purify himself. وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى. The sole purpose of giving, the sole purpose of sharing, the sole purpose of offering what you have and sharing what the blessings Allah Azza had given to you is only for one reason: to purify your nafs from الشح. وَمَن يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Whoever protects himself or herself from the shuh, those are indeed the most successful. الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى. وما لأحد عنده الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى. And none would be, he has no interest of doing this as a result of a returning favor, because they were saying that Abu Bakr, which is this ayah speak about, when he set Bilal free, he did him a favor. I will come to see what is the status of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu as the next man after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah, Abu Bakr truly ما سبقكم بكثرة عمل, ولكن Abu Bakr did not have something extraordinary in terms of his ibadah or worshippings, but rather because of what he had in his heart. وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه. He have spent all his wealth. He used all his money. He gave up his wealth, when he first migrated with the Prophet ﷺ, and he gave up his wealth when he was preparing the army in the Ghazwat al-Usra, the hardship battle, which is Ghazwat Tabuk, and he from before that even had given all his wealth in setting up most of the slaves in Mecca. Abu Bakr is a unique model that one needs to explore his life and try to follow his footsteps, and try to be like him in the way he lived his life. وَمَا لِأَحَدٍ عِنْدَهُ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تُجْزَى إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى. It's not as a result of paying back a favor to someone who have given him a favor in return, but rather he is doing this to please Allah Azza wa Jal. One of the things that's amazed me about Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when in the Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, Quraysh was sending delegation to communicate with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they sent one of the leaderships of Quraysh, and he was trying to provoke the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he did that intentionally so that he would test the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and see who he is. So he attempted to provoke the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the one who responded to him, he's one of the leaders of Mecca, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. And that person was hurt. I said, who's this? And he said, Abu Bakr. And that man looked at him and said, لولا يد لك علينا, if you did not do a favor to me in the past, I would have responded to you. Subhanallah. Abu Bakr was a unique, amazing how he was a person who almost have done favors to everyone, to the honorable and leaders of Mecca, and to the most simple and unrespected in Mecca from the slaves. And amazing how his life was so unique, that he have done so much that everybody said that Abu Bakr is has favors upon us. When he attempted to leave Mecca before the migration, and he was met by one of the leader of the tribe, leader of one of the tribes, the strong tribes around Mecca, and he said to him, where are you going? He said, I'm leaving Mecca because they're making it difficult for me to worship Allah. He said, no. By Allah Azza wa Jal, one like you, Abu Bakr, should not be leaving Mecca. إنك لتقري الضيف وتحمل الضعيف. And he did list for him different things that he does, similar to what Khadija radiallahu anha said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he came back from Ghar Hira. I remember when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came back from Ghar Hira, and he was shivering and said, Zammiluni. And she said to him, what's wrong? He said, this is what I saw. He thought he saw a jinn. He said, no, or shaitan. He said, by Allah, la yukhzik Allah. Allah will not turn you down. Innaka, you are the person who looks after the orphans and care for the miskeen and look after the rahim. Similar words to what Khadija radiallahu anha said to the Prophet sallallahu were said about this man, about Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, without prior arrangements. Subhanallah. This gives you an idea of who Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is. And look at this. Now Allah has just said, إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى, the one who gives for the purification of his nafs and does it only to please Allah Azza wa Jal, the greatest Lord, and وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى, and Allah لَسَوْفَ shall be happy with him. Now let's go back to the surah, the one that comes before it, which is Surah Al-Duha. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. You see the connection now? Allah Azza said in Surah Al Lail, إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ رَبِّهِ الْأَعْلَى وَلَسَوْفَ يَرْضَى. This is in Surah Al Lail. Now this is speaking about Abu Bakr. In Surah Al-Duha, which is addressed to the Prophet ﷺ, وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. Allahu Akbar. As if Allah is saying to us, He will be pleasing His Prophet, and in sending an implicit message to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, you are worthy of being the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, worthy to be the first Khalifa after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah will make you happy as He have made the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam happy. Subhanallah. May Allah make us like Abu Bakr. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbi. And that's why I conclude with this. I love this hadith, which I shared it in many occasions, in which the Prophet ﷺ said in one morning, Man asbaha minkum al-yawma sa'iman, who is among you is fasting? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, Ana ya Rasulullah. And of course he was not saying that to show off. And he said, Man aada minkum al-yawma maridan, who have visited of you a sick? He said, I am ya Rasulullah. He said, وَمَنْ شَيَّعَ مِنْكُمْ جَنَازَةً, whoever followed a janazah. He said, Ana ya Rasulullah. And he said, Man at'ama al-yawma minkum miskinan, or who have fed a miskin or gave a sadaqah. He said, Ana ya Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar. All this after Salat al-Fajr. We're not talking about Salat al-Maghrib, not the end of the day. The day is still haven't started. He said, ما اجتمعت هذه لرجل في يوم إلا دخل الجنة. What does this give you an idea? What does this say to you? This deen of Allah Azza wa Jal is not a deen of spirituality. Right? It's not a deen of spirituality only. Yes, indeed. Spirituality, feeling, calm, peace, ease is part of it. But this is a dynamic deen. All the things that Abu Bakr did were things of, an active, dynamic individual, going to visit a sick, following a janazah, feeding a miskeen, visiting a marid, a sick. This is a very dynamic, deen. And this is what Allah wants us to be. Wants this deen, the Quran, to ignite the potentials in our hearts and mind, and wants to ignite our, abilities to give the most optimum abilities and powers in our life. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make us from them. Allahumma ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.